Hello everybody, Patrick here, and today we're branching out a little bit, not a lot considering the last video, but and the fact that I did do a similar video earlier this year with the Samus Phazon suit review. This review is not of a Transformer, is what I'm trying to say. It's not a Transformer, but it is technically something I've looked at on the channel. Because remember, I did do the Star Wars Transformers crossovers. Well, today I am taking a look at a Star Wars Black Series figure. The only one I currently still have. I used to have a few, but we lost them in a move, I think. Or just lost them over the years. I don't remember, actually. Anyway, today we are taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series. Phase 1 Clone Trooper. I love the Clone Troopers. I just love the Clone Troopers. And Phase 1 is my preferred look for them. Not a lot visually changes between Phase 1 and Phase 2, except for the helmet. But still, I really like this. Now, before we actually take a look at the clone himself, let's take a look at the box. That's not going to change. If I have a box, I'm going to look at it. Let's see. Star Wars Attack of the Clones, Phase 1 Clone Trooper, warnings, Hasbro. Nice piece of artwork of the Clone Trooper right here. There's a shoulder right there. I don't know whose that is. That shoulder I know. That's a B2 battle droid. Then you have rocks. I think this is supposed to be Geonosis. What am I saying? Of course it's Geonosis. Other than Kamino, that's the only place the clones appeared in Attack of the Clones. Was Geonosis. So, of course that's Geonosis. Anyway, you have the Black Series right there. The window, which acts as the clamshell that holds the figure. On the back, you have that same piece of artwork of the Trooper. You have a quick bio. Star Wars Black Series. 05, Attack of the Clones Clone Trooper warnings. This side, not much at all, really. Top, you have a window. Bottom, you have that right there, because I bought this off Walmart. Yeah, let me show you what I mean by, the front window acts as the clamshell. Because if you remove the clamshell, you remove the front window. Which I feel like is a pretty clever way of getting around, having a window for the box. So that way, people know what they're getting and know it's not, completely defective. Or has pieces, or a piece stolen. Because with Transformers, they had a phase between Legacy Year 1 and Age of the Primes where they had the window but no plastic protection, which led to people stealing figures and pieces of figures galore. And Black Series, they just had, this completely covered with just, basically artwork or a picture of the figure. This is a nice way of getting around that, so it still has the protection and view, and you're using less plastic. I like that. It's kind of the best of both worlds. As close to best as possible. But, let's bring in our Clone Trooper. Like I said, I really love Clone Troopers. I don't know why, I just do. Yeah, let's take a look at that helmet. Which looks really nice. There's a little bit of black overspray right here. But it's really not noticeable. Some nice detail and paintwork in the teeth of the helmet. Right there. Trying to get my camera to focus. Yeah. And yeah. The undersuit, even though you don't see it a lot, is very nicely detailed. That is one thing I will always give to Star Wars Black Series, is that they are very well detailed. The armor looks straight out of the movie. Not much I can really complain about. Not much more I can ask for, because just about every clone, variant you'd want is in Black Series. Aside from our Trooper Jesse. Or Fives. Or Echo. Okay, if you want a variant of the unnamed clone, it's in Black Series. If you want a named clone, If you want a named clone that appeared almost exclusively in animation, then you might be a little SOL. If you want a named clone that appears in the movies, then they've probably made them. I think there's only 2 animation-specific clones, or animation only, until Ahsoka, for one of them, clones that they've made in Black Series. Commander Fox, and Phase 1, or in Captain Rex. Because I just remembered they made both Phase 1 and 2 for him. Rex was animation only until Ahsoka. Fox, I don't think has ever been in he's never been in a movie. He did appear in the Vader comics, where he was killed by Vader. But still. Anyway, I've gone on a tangent. Yeah. Armor's really nice. The chest plate and the helmet, as well as the shoulders, elbows, and knees are made of a slightly softer material, so is the belt. So it can, stretch and stuff, but without breaking. He does have a face underneath, and it's a spitting image of Tamora Morrison, the actor who played Boba Fett and the clones. And yep, yeah, that is Tamora Morrison. A little bit of, no, that's just shine from my light. Yeah, and even the neck seal is really detailed. Yeah, the hair has texture. Be warned, the paint will kind of start to rub off in the helmet if you take it on and off too many times, but But yeah. He does come with accessories. Comes with a DC-15, is this a DC-15C or A? I don't remember. DC-15 blaster rifle. Which is what the clones used for the Clone Wars. Similar to the E11 that the Stormtroopers used, but a little bit different model. And he has, I forget what gun this is. It's a giant fucking, sniper rifle that has the scope under here. That's all I really know. He can hold them. You can see his hands are, gun-holding hands. So, pew pew bang bang, pew pew bang bang. You can get him to hold it double-handed, which is nice. Nice. You can, move the joints a little bit to get, some good firing poses out of him with the DC-15. I'll go over that a little bit more in articulation. I probably should have done articulation first before I got to the accessories, but, And then you can, plug the giant fucking rifle into his hand and, get him to hold it a little bit more by the scope, which I guess is supposed to be a grip. It looks like a scope. I was never really a big fan of this, just because it looks way too big, even though I know it's supposed to be a sniper rifle, essentially. But still. I don't have him holding this, I have him holding the DC-15. But yeah. Now the segment I should have done before that, articulation. These figures are very well articulated. I don't know if you would consider them hyper-articulate, but they are very articulated. The head is on 2 ball joints, one in the actual neck and one in the collar. So you can get, full 360, tilt side to side, up, down, and the ball joint in the collar can help with that. The arms can do a full 360. The shoulder pads are on a separate piece in there, but, it's tight enough that they don't come out of alignment. You can move the arms up about that far, and as you can see, the shoulder pad will go with it, and then come down. I'd suggest not leaving the arm in a position like this for an extended period of time, like, days or weeks, because the shoulder pad will probably just end up staying like that. Anyway, you have bicep rotation. You have over 9 degrees of bend at the elbow, and you also have rotation just above the elbow. The fists can rotate and angle up and down. You do have a ball joint in the torso, so you can, arches back, forward, or forward, back. You can rotate him at the waist. The legs are kind of interesting because of the shaping of the armor. If you want to move them forward past this, you need to rotate the thigh. And then you can rotate the knee to make the pose look a little bit more natural. But you can get about upwards, about that far. Backwards, only about that far, but really, do you need it to bend back more than this? Human legs do not bend back that far at the hip. Outwards, go about that far. As you can see, the top of the thighs are the same material as these, so it'll stretch a little bit. You do have a little bit over 90 degrees of bend at the knee. The knee pads are floating pieces, so you can position them for whatever you need. You do have above the knee rotation. The feet can pivot back, can pivot forward, back, and you do have tilt / pivot. So yeah, this guy can get into some really good posing, and he is pretty well balanced. Yeah. If you need a sense of scale, he's about 6 inches, but here's a soda can for scale. Because I try to keep things specific, like Transformers, I'll compare with Transformers. Crossovers, I'll compare with crossovers. Black Series will be compared with Black Series. And other household objects, so you get the, sense of scale. But yeah. You can get some really decent posing with this guy. But yeah. If you want, you can even, move things and position him so he's holding his helmet and, just, standing at attention, holding his helmet. It's really cool. Yeah. And the customizability of this guy is practically infinite. I don't know how well these pieces hold paint, but given that I assume figures that have paint on these pieces, like Rex, Wolf, them, have the same material, I assume it's a durable enough paint. I mean, they used paint on the helmet, so, I assume it's a durable or the material will hold paint at least decently well. So customizability for these, Phase 1 clones is really good, because it's literally a blank slate. It comes with the 2 most famous clone trooper weapons. If you want the pistols, you'll have to get a commander or captain, but still. Anyway, guys, that has been my review of the Star Wars The Black Series Phase 1 Clone Trooper version 3. This is the 3rd version of the Phase 1 Clone Trooper they made in Black Series. Yeah, do I recommend it? If you're a fan of Clone Troopers, yes. Yeah, go ahead. It was like $30, which is like $5 more than most Black Series figures, but that's also resellers, so yeah. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of Clone Troopers. I'm probably gonna end up getting a couple more of these guys at some point. One to customize, and probably the others just to have as Clone Troopers. But yeah, guys. So that's been my review. If you liked it, leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more, and I will see you all next time. Peace.